What's up, everybody? Brian Engelman here with the Unhappy Hour. Yes, the name of the show lives up to its name today. The Cavaliers have been eliminated by the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors have won 2 out of the last 3 NBA Finals. LeBron James becomes the first person ever to average a triple-double in the NBA Finals. All for naught. Kyrie got banged up. Kevin Love didn't do a whole heck of a lot. Tristan did a few things. JR was hitting a bunch of shots. But overall, it became very apparent that the addition of Kevin Durant made an enormous difference. I think that the Cavaliers would have smashed the Golden State Warriors of last year if they played again this year. But Kevin Durant made a big difference. We have Zak Baris on the program, lifelong Cleveland sports fan, former NBA scout, former NBA consultant. Zach, give us your take on, first off, Game 7, what happened yesterday.
Well, Game 7 was a year ago, so we'll go over Game 5.
The elimination game. That's what I meant. The elimination game.
You know what? It's not a matter. Their starting lineup wasn't overmatched last night. That was the thing. I mean, JR was fantastic. Tristan Thompson was fantastic last night.
Yeah.
And give LeBron all the effort in the world. I mean, don't forget, LeBron led not only a triple-double, but he also led the finals in steals per game and blocks per game as well. Led all 5 categories.
Wait, not in points though. Wasn't that?
I believe he did. Durant put up 30, but I think LeBron averaged more per game.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to double check on that. But either way, he had a beast of a finals. We can agree on that.
He was incredible.
Yeah.
And Kyrie was very good as well. The problem is there's just very, very little room for error against this team. Mm-hmm. You have to be perfect. And we witnessed that in Game 4. The Cavaliers were perfect in Game 4, and they beat the crap out of them.
Yeah. That second quarter, the end of that second quarter, I mean, being up 7 to down 18, that 25-point swing, I mean, what the heck happened there?
I mean, that's what happens. Golden State goes on runs like that, and you can't stop. But the Cavaliers climbed back in. They got within 2.
Well, yeah.
They got within 2 points. The problem is that when you have a bench that can't do anything when LeBron's off the floor, or, it's the problem, or when Kyrie's off the floor, you literally, Kyrie got hurt. Well, Golden State went on that massive run last night, and Cleveland couldn't do anything about it. They couldn't score the basketball. So there are options you have to look at now, going, what can we do to upgrade our bench this offseason? What veterans can we bring in here that want to play or are willing to play at the veteran minimum? There will be ones that want to sit there. There are a lot of players in the NBA who don't like what the Warriors did and want to beat them.
Yeah.
You're going to see Golden State improve as well, probably. I'm not going to say that because odds are Iguodala leaves in free agency. I would assume that he's gotten his 2 titles now. There's no reason for him to sit back and take a pay cut when some team's going to way overpay him.
Oh, okay. So you think he leaves?
I'm not going to. If I'm Andre, I'm not going to sit there and take $8 million a year or $10 million a year from Golden State when I can get 20 on the open market.
What about Klay Thompson? I'm hearing rumors that he might get traded. Hearing something about draft picks to save some money.
If it's me, like I said, I've been all over this. I've been all over the trading Klay Thompson thing now for a year. It's great that he got to win another one there with Golden State. But if you're Golden State and you want to look at this long term, like I said, and I know Draymond's the heart of that team, but Draymond and Klay were not, no offense to them, but neither one of them were great during the finals.
No, they weren't.
It was
they were very beatable.
I mean, imagine, like I said, what's stopping New Orleans, a team from New Orleans facilitating a deal where they can get Draymond and Klay Thompson for Anthony Davis. Golden State improves the longevity of their team by having 3 of the top 4 or 5 players in the game and makes them better long-term, getting Anthony Davis especially up front. And it forces the Cavs to counteract a move. They would be that much better with Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that the Pelicans would be willing to part with him. But,
but here's the thing, though. For Draymond and Klay,
I wouldn't do that forever.
But here's the thing. If you've got Draymond and Klay and you've got DeMarcus Cousins, New Orleans, that doesn't make New Orleans a top 3 team in the West, but New Orleans suddenly has 3 All-Stars on their team.
Yeah, but you're trading $1 for 2 50-cent pieces.
No, I don't think they're 2 50-cent pieces. I think they're more in the lines of 2 75-cent pieces. They're not quarters. They're not 50. They're not $.
We're making up
they're
currency
much better
this
than
one.
that.
All right, they're $2.
They're not talking the Jeremy Lambs of the world or even the Steven Adams. You're talking.
Clearly they're a step above
All-Stars.
that. Yeah, clearly they're a step above that. I totally understand. I agree with you there.
You're talking two of the top 25 players in the league. For a top 5 player. It allows you to preserve your team long term under the cap, or at least stay within a reasonable amount. If it's me, that's the move I make.
Okay, we've talked about that one quite a bit. I want to talk about maybe a move or two the Cavs could make. I know there's a lot of people talking, and very few people understand the salary cap and how this stuff works. I put in the post in the Unhappy Hour. By the way, if you're not following the Unhappy Hour Sports Show group, you need to follow it. It's a private group. It's awesome. But yeah, we're talking about it. I want to talk about a couple of moves the Cavs could make. Obviously, we have the draft coming up very soon, so we can do another show about that. I don't want to spend too much time there, but before we even get into moves that the Cavs can make, I just kind of wanted to touch on one more thing Okay, two things. Number one, where would you rank Cleveland championship run heartbreaks? Where would you rank yesterday? Which ones would be much more heartbreaking?
This one was bad, but it was not nearly as bad as Game 7 of the World Series, and it wasn't as bad as 2 years ago, and it wasn't as bad as it wasn't as bad as the '97 World Series because the Cavaliers won last year. As disappointed as I was last night, they still won it a year ago.
Yep.
They still won it a year ago. I was very mad last night. I was very mad when the Indians lost. It's a different sport. Last night I was very disappointed, but at the same time, it's not like they lost it in 7 and you throw your heart on the line and you spend $14,000 on the playoffs and they lose.
Yeah, there's that.
Last year, had they lost to me, I would have just been absolutely devastated with the amount of money I spent on the playoffs last year and the amount of time and probably years of my life that took off from all the drinking.
Vodka and ginger
required
beer.
Surgery 4 weeks later after the playoffs were over.
Ah, well, that's right, you did.
Well, I'm not going to say that was from the drinking because I was not an alcoholic. Let's just put it that way.
All right, fair
enough. It was probably from the unhealthy eating. But you know what? Thank God it happened. I'm in much better shape nowadays. Also lost 20 pounds since last summer. However, but I'm just saying, though, I would have been absolutely devastated. When the Cavaliers lost Game 4 last year, I was a wreck.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm walking out of the arena. I go to give, again, I sat next to Kyrie's dad and Kyrie's sister. I go to give them both a hug, and he said, did you go over? And he says, I'll see you for Game 6. And I said, I hope so. And he goes, I'll see you for Game 6.
That's odd.
And
that's
I said,
so
okay.
weird. I felt like we were going to bring this home this year. I felt like it was going to happen.
I said this last night, though. I said they win Game 5, they win the series.
Yep.
They would have had it. If they would have won Game 5, they would have won the series.
Yeah.
And
Richard Jefferson said as much as well.
At some point last night, it was just like they couldn't get over that hump. Every time it was something little. That second quarter run by Golden State just crushed us. Even though they got back in it, it was just like too much, and you couldn't stop Kevin Durant down the stretch. I know we don't have a lot of time today, but let's move into, the Cavaliers' possibilities for improving this team next year, because you have to improve, and you have to make sure that Golden State regresses. Only way Golden State is regressing is if they lose Iguodala in free agency and they lose Sean Livingston.
Okay, hold on with Livingston and Iguodala. Before we talk about the Cavs, just a real quick question. Your final thoughts on how the referees impacted this series. I wasn't really happy with
it.
this.
The David West play was the biggest. I mean, it summed up the entire series. David West goes in there, gets hit with a technical foul, and then suddenly the Cavaliers get a double tech on them, and Golden State's the one shooting the free throw.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Well, and LeBron gets hit in the face by Kevin Durant. That would have been his third foul and would have changed the whole game.
It was a joke. It was a joke. You would have thought the refs would be on Cleveland's side to preserve a Game 6. Yeah. And it just didn't happen. It was like Golden State kept going to the line. I mean, the BS one on Curry where he completely leaned into Korver. Are you kidding me? Like, it was a joke.
Yeah, and I know we had several favorable calls on our side. I'm not going to be such a homer.
Every team gets favorable calls.
Of course, but it just seemed lopsided this whole series.
Get more because they're trying to protect their superstars.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, though. This was not even about Klay Thompson and Draymond Green last night. It was literally Curry Durant.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you how many times I heard Klay Thompson's name called last night, if anything. I think he may have made one decent shot.
So who was guarding him yesterday? Do you give credit to our defense or...
I mean, you have to, but the thing is you can't give credit to the defense because the defense gave up 130 points again or close to it last night.
Yeah, and once again, fast break Iguodala, LeBron doesn't even take the ball carrier. Just a free drive for a dunk. I don't know. I mean, the Cavs obviously... The
problem is you can't get into foul trouble. That's the problem, too. Golden State's already sitting there in the bonus, so before the shot, there's no reason to. And Iguodala's not going to be stupid like last year and go for a layup.
That's right. Yeah, he probably would have passed
I think he learned his lesson. But I'm telling you, if this was last year's team, you take Durant off that team, Cleveland wins that in 5.
I think so too, but that's not the case. The Warriors have
But
improved.
no, Durant. I mean, here's the thing: people are saying it's unfair what Durant did. Do I like what Durant did? Absolutely not. Again, it ruins the parity in the NBA. But what the Warriors did was completely illegal. It's not like they scammed the system. They are very, very fortunate to have Curry signed for under market value, which the only person's fault that is Steph Curry's. You know, he had injuries earlier in his career. Other teams could have gone in there and made Curry a max offer, 4 years ago. Nobody chose to do it.
Yeah, so here we are.
Nobody chose to go and give Curry a max offer. I mean, nobody did. You know, you have to think of it like that, and that's how I'm looking at it.
So is David Griffin going to be our GM next year? Is that
Yes,
confirmed?
I'd be very shocked if he was not.
Yeah, but he still hasn't re-signed, and he's getting...
Just give it 3 days. Give
Okay,
it 3 days.
3
He will
days.
be.
Fine, fair enough. Yeah, because, I mean, we got the draft coming up. What assets...
So he'll be the GM. Worst case scenario, they'll be promoted from within. It'll be Trent Redden or Kobe Altman, who's been there since the Griffin era anyway.
Okay, so what do the Cavs do in this draft? Do we have any chips? Do you see anything happening?
No, there's no pieces to do anything with unless they go in and buy a pick.
Okay. Well, I mean, wasn't Draymond a second-round pick? Am I confusing him with another
Draymond was a second-round pick, but the problem is, and don't forget, Draymond got his time when David Lee got injured. It's not like Draymond was suddenly just a great player. Draymond didn't play large minutes until David Lee got injured.
Okay.
The problem is the Cavaliers have very little room to play a second-round pick to see what they can do. Even if Kay Felder is the next Isaiah Thomas, it's going to be impossible to know in Cleveland because Kay Felder is never going to see legitimate meaningful minutes. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Does Darren Williams and Kyle Korver, do they come back?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what Darren Williams is going to do. I mean, Darren Williams didn't play himself into a $10 million a year player by being with the Cavs. I can assure you that. And I'd be very surprised if some team is willing to give that to him that's at least decent. I mean, if you're Darren Williams, you've made a ton of money in your career. Do you want to win a title or not? And the question is, do the Cavaliers want him back?
Okay, so backup point guard. Should we be worried about Kyrie Irving's knee again? Or just meh?
No, I think he's fine.
Okay.
I do. I think he's fine. I mean, I think the one person the Cavs would love to have back, and I think he'd love to be back, would be Dellavedova, but it's not happening. There's no way to really make it work.
Was it 60, 80 million, 85 million, something crazy?
Oh, he's $36 million, but
Whatever.
Dellavedova I don't think is worth $9 million a year. Maybe in this market he is, but as a backup point guard, the Cavaliers could have had him for $2 to $4 million a year, 2 years ago. But again, at the time they thought that was overpaying for him, which it probably was at the time.
Well, and people are asking now, is Tristan Thompson being over? Maybe that's the 85 million number that was bouncing around in my head. What did Tristan do for you in this series? Are you happy with what he like? Because we got to look. Kyrie and LeBron are the only immovable parts in my mind.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know what you trade Tristan for. I don't know what you can get for him. I mean, we have to see how the market shakes out in free agency. We have to see how the trade market shapes up. We need to see what teams are looking for and what the Cavaliers can replace him with, if anything. Don't forget, we wouldn't have won a title without Tristan Thompson last year. He was that good.
Yeah.
It's not like he was bad, and he's great in Game 4, and he didn't have a bad Game 5. He just wasn't very effective for the first few games of this series, and you can give credit to Golden State for exploiting it. They forced him to play on the perimeter. It allowed them to get a bunch of offensive rebounds. They were pulling the switch all the time. It was like Cleveland had no chance. Tristan's not the only person to blame. The Kardashians are not to blame in this, as much as people want to blame them. It's just stupid.
Do we blame Ty Lue?
You can blame Ty Lue, but again, they were overmatched. They were, the thing is, Golden State was a more talented basketball team.
So we don't switch head coaches, is what you're saying?
No, I think it's ridiculous to fire Ty Lue.
Okay.
I don't think he did the best job, and I don't care who you're. You can put Red Auerbach on that bench and Phil Jackson, and you can put the world's best coaches in Cleveland. Still wasn't going to win that finals. It just wasn't going to happen.
So,
they were outmatched.
So the players that you're hearing mentioned that might be moving around next year, whether it's a sign and trade or this or that, run down a few of these players and just any possibility that you see happening.
Paul George is one guy that Cleveland has to look at. You can do a straight-up trade for Kevin Love. And is Indiana willing to build around Kevin Love for the next 3 years and Miles Turner? And are they willing to do that? Maybe. Paul George is not going to be resigning it. But Cleveland would need assurance, and Paul George would need assurance that LeBron's going to be here long-term.
Oh, yeah.
And LeBron would need assurance that Paul George is going to be here long-term. Because the Cavaliers can't give up an asset like Kevin Love knowing that Paul George is going to walk away in free agency.
Of course. And then there's the LeBron thing. Out here they're talking about, is LeBron going to the Lakers, the Clippers, all that stuff.
It's a BS thing. He's not going to the Lakers. He's not going to the Clippers.
But still.
Why is he going to go out west where Golden State's going to beat him around earlier?
I understand, but it's still a conversation.
Who does Los Angeles even have on their team? They're stuck with two of the worst contracts in basketball in Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov.
Yep.
And here's the thing. What has D'Angelo Russell proven? What has Julius Randle proven? And what has Brandon Ingram proven? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
the Lakers are a talentless basketball team right now, and due to those two horrible contracts, can't even surround themselves with stars. And if they're going to do it, they're going to have to trade up all their assets in order to move a contract like that. Any team that's willing to take on Mozgov's contract or Luol Deng is going to require Brandon Ingram in a deal, Julius Randle, D'Angelo Russell. Going to require all, or the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft. So I don't see the Lakers move happening. The Clippers one I see very unrealistic. Even if the Super Friends do team up, do you think a 36-year-old Dwayne Wade in a couple of years, and a 34-year-old LeBron, and a 34-year-old Chris Paul, and a I can't even think of who else. Okay, let's just put it this way: it's not happening.
So, but back to Paul George is the only way we get Paul. Is the only way we get Paul George to give up Kevin Love? Is there any Shumpert?
I guess you could make it work with Tristan another piece, but why is Indiana going to go do that?
I don't know. I don't know why anybody's gonna work with us. I don't know what options.
Teams will always do it. Teams will always work with you. If I'm Cleveland, I go and make the move to get Paul George, because if that's the only thing you can do. I thought Kevin Love was great during the finals. He had a great playoff run. I like Kevin Love a lot. I'm an advocate for Kevin Love. I'm not saying trade him, but if you can get Paul George, Golden State's going to be looking. They're going to be watching.
Yeah, but I've heard people.
And if they lose Iguodala and they lose Sean Livingston, those are huge blows to their current lineup. Huge.
Well, I've heard people say about Paul George's problem is he doesn't play defense either, and we need some guys who can play defense.
Paul George has the ability to play defense. Okay. We witnessed how good he was against LeBron in the first round. Other than the Warriors, Indiana gave Cleveland the most trouble.
All those games were close. You're right. We won them all, but they were close.
A combined 16 points.
Exactly. That the smallest margin in a sweep in NBA history.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting stat.
So if it's me and Cleveland has the ability to do it, and you have assurance from Paul George that he's going to stay here, then go ahead and make the move. Go ahead and see what you can do. Then you have the ability to go and match Durant and Curry in the finals scoring wise. Going, listen, you guys can put up 60. We got 3 guys that can do the same thing. We don't just have 2 anymore. We've got 3 that can sit up there. We can put up 100 between 3 guys any night.
Yeah.
Especially in the playoffs. Imagine how dynamic those 3 would be. Imagine how many open shots a guy like Korver would be able to take.
Yeah, honestly, you look at LeBron and Kyrie versus what KD and Steph did. We didn't lose it there. I don't think we really lost it there, but the whole well-rounded machine that they had adding Durant was just to add an MVP.
They're a 73-win team who added the second-best player in the NBA.
Pretty incredible.
And again, you have to give. I think Bob Myers and David Griffin are the 2 best GMs in basketball. I really do. Look what David Griffin was able to do with a roster full of, he had a bunch of future assets and a bunch of Dion Waiters, Tyler Zeller, Anthony Bennett, Andrew Wiggins. Not one of them has turned into a great player. Andrew Wiggins has been in the league now 3 years, and what has he accomplished? He's not a very good player. He's very mediocre.
Well,
maybe slightly above average, but I can tell you this right now. You're not hearing the Wiggins for Love thing anymore. You don't ever hear anybody talk about it anymore, that the Cavaliers lost that deal.
No, and I think Love played great this postseason. I was happy with it. Obviously, we could have done a little better, but I feel like we were overmatched, and I would say, in no particular order, because I haven't really thought this out yet, but stream of consciousness, I would say probably 2008 Cleveland Indians team that got knocked out, but we were up 3-1 and lost to the Red Sox.
I feel like 07.
07, thank you. I think that was a great chance to win a title when the Rockies were the team we'd be facing. That one hurt. Yep. 97 hurt. 95 hurt. Last year hurt with the Indians.
They all hurt.
The Browns, the drive and the fumble were really bad. Yesterday hurt, but we were never really in the series. We had a blowout, but yeah, if we won Game 5, I felt like we were going to take the whole thing, but we never really we never really had.
I mean, Brian,
Game
imagine
5
winning
control.
Game 5 though, and then winning Game 6, and then getting your butt kicked in Game 7. That would have hurt so bad. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, but you know what? I'm proud of this team. I really am. I'm happy how they finished. You know, they didn't back down from a fight, and they proved that they really, really are better than the regular season record indicated. They really were.
Yeah, but those first 2 games, man, they came out so flat. I don't know what that was attributed to, but I don't think it was just getting outplayed. I think there was something going on that they weren't prepared for, an attitude they didn't have, some sort of.
I don't know. I mean, again, you got nothing from your bench the entire series other than Game 4.
All right. Well, we can talk about it, but I just wanted to bookend this season. I don't really want to spend too much time on it because it doesn't make me happy. It does make me unhappy on the unhappy hour, but hey, this is a support group. More than just a sports group, it's a support group. So if you're not following Zak, he's on Twitter at Zbaris. That's ZBARIS. Zak, any final words? And then we can talk again maybe about the draft and some other moves that teams.
I mean, no, I'm good. I think we should do a draft preview show next week, and that's about it.
Okay, well, go Indians, go Browns, go Buckeyes, and we're going to put an end to this season and have a long off season to figure this out. We'll come back with Zak.
Thanks again for having me, Brian.
All right, you take care. Have a good one. Enjoy the Tribe game tonight.
Thank you.